Picture
in
here?
the picture,
Okay, cool.
not all the way. If you scooch it forward a little bit, it'll be more in
It's funny
the
because like you
whole
can't
thing.
really. Well, I think we're
Yeah.
probably gonna have to deep dive into this because yeah. Hold on, my speaker's on. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching another Q&A video. We didn't do one of these last week. Do you know why we didn't do one last week, Chris?
Um, I can't remember
Well, we were
why.
doing an online class.
Oh,
We were
that's
doing
right. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
build a guitar body with tools you ought to have, and a lot of you guys were there.
How could I
If
forget?
I don't know. I don't know how you could forget.
It's easy.
But so that's why we didn't do a Q&A or ask Uncle Matt or have a beer with Uncle Matt video last week. Um, and we've been so busy lately. Um, but I have recorded a video, an edited video that I think you guys are really gonna like. I'm thinking about recording an edited video that some of you are going to absolutely hate. I'm not going to tell you what either one of them are, but so we're coming to you an hour earlier today because we've got a snowstorm moving into Colorado, and it's this thing that like weathermen or any media outlet call what I call danger weather, and it's where they try to get everyone whipped up into a frenzy, terrified, and run to the grocery store and buy all the toilet paper or whatever. And that's what's happening in Colorado right now. They're anticipating 14 to 36 inches of snow possible in Denver. I don't know, but that's like if the models work out, and stuff changes all the time. So we don't know if we're going to be here uh, for very much longer. Today, we we may or may not be able to bring you guys a reveal video tomorrow. If we don't, we're gonna pre-record a review. There will be a reveal video tomorrow at 5, right, Chris?
Yes.
Whether it's pre-recorded and released or whether it's live, I hope that it's live. And the reveal for tomorrow is going to be really, really cool. And one of you has actually purchased that guitar already, so it's not available, but it's a cool video or it's a cool guitar to show you, and I want everyone to see that. Dave Hawkinson, happy almost Friday to you too, Dave. Let's raise our glass to Dave. What am I drinking here, Chris?
You are drinking Upslopes out cheese.
Out, geez.
Upslopes oatmeal stout. Oatmeal stout.
Oatmeal scotchy. Yeah, it's in a Guinness glass. It doesn't mean it's a Guinness. I like. People are like, oh, do you like Guinness? Well, yeah. Oh, so then you must like stout beer. Not really, no. So this is like okay. It's pretty good, but it's if you think it's Guinness, it ain't.
So we got that from Brandon,
Yep.
who is a general contractor.
Yep.
He also hangs out in the shop when he can,
Uh-huh.
and he's been doing some work at Upslope Brewing.
That's right. Thank you to
And
Brandon for
they
bringing
hooked
this
him up with
by.
some beer.
Yeah, and you know what? It's better than no beer by a fair margin. And you kind of go in for the high test beer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like anything really.
Okay. So let's see. So today's episode, of course, is sponsored by our good friends at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. Guys, if you're in the Denver area, stop by Flipside Music, and Ike will give you a big kiss on the mouth. Well, if it's after COVID, he will.
Yes.
Right now, he'll probably just give you a high five or one of these, or maybe he'll do the bump with you. If you're not in the Denver area, you can shop Flipside Music's online store. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will get you sorted out. I'd also like to send a special thanks to Bitterroot Guitars, John and Cheryl. If you use code TXTOAST at checkout, you'll get 15% off, so that's a cool thing. Also, Dan and Calvin at Guitarwood Experts. Dan has roasted maple neck blanks now. And if you guys are looking for roasted maple, Dan is the man. Give him a buzz. He will get you fixed up. And I think if you use Texas Toast 15 at checkout, you get 15% off there too.
Cool.
And there's some other sponsors. We're going to talk about them here in a little bit coming up. Chris is kind of looking for computer pluggy deals. So he is going to be working the board behind us right now. Let's just jump in though. A couple of questions have already come in, guys. If you've got questions, make sure to leave question mark and that will help Chris find who's asking questions, or if you guys just want to chat between yourselves, that's cool too. But if you have a question for us for this Q&A, please put some question marks so we know that's what it is. Let's see. Dom asked, he says he's having trouble getting his truss rod nut access in his neck. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this, and Dom, I'm just going to show you how I would do it if it was me. And this is not industry standard practice except for one of them. Let me show you the first one here. I have kind of a surrogate neck, and it has 2 truss rods in it. This is a device that I use to show people how these 2 truss rods work. But you can see the access there. That was done. This is an angled headstock. That was done with a tool called a spot facer. And a spot facer looks a little bit like this. And hold on. Let's see if we can just get it to go into the spot that it's about to face. So this is the neck, and as you can see, the spot facing tool comes in like this. And can you show people this, Chris? And it will put a nice cutout and make it dead flat. So if you're using like a Gibson style truss rod, that's what Gibson uses, is a spot facer to do that.
How early in the process would you do this? Because this is like finished and
you would need to have
angled.
You would need to have the neck angle done, and you would need to have the slot for the truss rod done, and then immediately afterward you would use that spot facer to do that. Now that's on a Gibson style rod, or something with an angled headstock. That would be a way to go. Now, one of the reasons that Gibson has a headstock angle that is notorious for breaking, and they will not change, is because of the truss rod that they use. Imagine if this is a 12 or 14 degree headstock angle. Imagine if this was quite a bit shallower. This cut made by the spot facer would go way into the headstock. So that's one of the reasons that they are not probably that they will not be switching from one angle to another based on strength. A lot of people get all bent out of shape about like, oh, the end grain there, but no, don't worry about that. The real problem is not the grain or how much material there is. The real problem is just the angle is too steep.
So trying to get a wrench onto a nut, if it was a shallower headstock angle, would be problematic.
You would need to have something like this cut right here. I show you this because this is what we do. We just add I think it looks clean, and it's just an area for you to put the wrench. I'm gonna put the wrench in here, and then I'm gonna hand this over to Chris, and he can show you what our headstock looks like. And it's not unheard of for like Reverend does this, Yamaha does this, a handful of other companies do this. It's not like we came up with something awesome. I mean, it is awesome, but we aren't the ones who were the primary inventors responsible for it. But this is the way all of our headstocks look now, whether it's a Fender style headstock or an angled Gibson style. So Dom, that's one of those things, man, where you're gonna have to find what works for you, and if you can add a signature element to it too, that's definitely cool. So I hope that helps.
People are saying the focus is off. Looks okay on my screen.
Yeah, it looks okay on mine too.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you guys. Maybe drink more. Well, okay.
Squint less.
No, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm even looking with my danger glasses. Everything looks okay to me, guys. There's a lot going on in this shot. There's this guitar. There's just a lot of crazy, kooky stuff.
Here, we'll move the camera a little bit, and then it'll look better.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you got any? I see some stuff coming in here.
Well, let's say hey to our friend Jason Trail, who's been in
Hey,
the hospital
Jason.
and he's still
Oh,
there.
that's a bummer.
Yeah. Hopefully you won't be there too much longer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, you got to get out of that joint.
Jay Pete wants to know about the course that we did last week, and is that course and body blank deal going to be available for the near future?
Okay, it was Jason.
Jay.
Jay, yeah. So that build a guitar or build a guitar body with tools you ought to have is available right now as an archive video. One of the things I'm going to do when we're snowed out of the shop is update the website with a bunch of stuff. And yeah, you'll be able to buy that video. And if you want a body blank, we'd be happy to set you up with one of those too. That's kind of a my computer just took a dump. So yeah, so one of the nice things about the archived videos is we can send them out and you can watch them again and again. And so yeah, it's a neat way to do classes.
Do you want to plug in?
No, I don't care. You have a computer,
I
right?
do.
I don't need to see this.
Okay.
I'm yeah. So anyway, the neat thing about the archive videos is you can watch them even after they were live. And as far as guitar body blanks go, we are absolutely going to be in the super affordable guitar body blank building, selling business coming up very, very soon. So that will be a standard item on the website as well. They're going to be now. We're not going to have like mahogany and maple and stuff like that. They're going to be like just get you started body blanks. You want to make a guitar and you just need a piece of wood big enough to do it, just to kind of see if you want to do this. But you're having trouble locating and sourcing body blanks for not a whole lot of money. We're going to help you guys out with that. That's going to be one of the things that we do. So thank you for your interest in that. Send me an email if you want more information or because that class isn't actually up. Like you can buy it now. I don't think so.
Okay.
But it will be.
Cool. And I think you just named the new offshoot of Texas Toast Guitars.
Did I?
Super affordable body blank building business. SAB.
Sab. I come up with great stuff all the time.
That's right. Yeah. Half of it just goes away because nobody's even paying attention.
More than half.
Jim Murray asks, when making a neck with a Floyd Rose nut, do you move where the headstock starts to angle back to accommodate for the width of the Floyd nut?
You have to move the headstock away from the guitar before the angle begins because the nut goes from like 3/16 to a quarter to half inch or whatever it is. So yeah, you need a bigger shelf there.
Yeah, we call that the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what everybody else calls it.
I think nut shelf is great. Yeah. And you know what? Even if you have like a Fender neck where there's that extra meat, where the scoop part comes, there's still not quite enough for a Floyd nut. A little bit's gonna overhang. You need a little bit bigger shelf than even that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, lots of questions about that thing next to you.
Oh, my new favorite thing in the
Let's keep them
world.
in suspense.
Okay. This is my new favoriteest thing in the whole world, and I want to tell you guys all about it, actually. But yeah.
Yep. So Goslin Creative
Hey.
says, I am fighting humidity in my basement workshop, alternating between dehumidifiers in the summer and a humidifier during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
How do you all maintain a stable humidity in your shop?
We are really lucky, actually, because we live in Colorado where the humidity is always low. And we just don't do anything. I believe that electric guitars should probably be made in an area where the humidity is fairly stable. And if you get a lot of fluctuation, that's going to be an uphill battle to kind of keep track of because, keeping it. And it doesn't matter, like if it's humid all the time or if it's dry all the time, happy meal. The problem is when you get swings in humidity. You know what I mean? That's a big issue, and you're gonna have. Man, I don't know, Chris. Do you have any ideas on that?
No, I've always lived here, and
I wonder too if the basement location isn't.
yeah, that's
also an
probably
issue.
Some of the issue. I know here it can get so dry that you have issues that way.
We have had like lumber that we get that like it's unusable by the time it gets here. It's so dry.
Yeah, we've actually gotten stuff from other places, and we unbox it, and almost watch it move.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and in my own home, I have a humidifier that I run in the wintertime because things can get down into the teens as
Yeah.
far as humidity, and that's bad for electronics. That's when
Yeah.
I first started doing it. Was
Yep.
when I walked across my my bedroom and touched the screen on my computer, or touched the computer
Yeah.
and blew it up.
Yeah.
And it's also hard on guitars, so I try and keep my stuff about the same, which isn't hard
Yeah.
here because it doesn't take a whole lot.
So I realize that's not really an answer to your question, because we're basically saying either move out of where you are or move your shop out of your basement. Two things you probably can't do. Man, that's a tricky one, and I don't have anything. I got nothing.
I'd say probably try and keep stuff separate, not stacked one on top of the other or something in between them.
Yeah.
Don't put stuff on the floor. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what kind of humidities he's running against either. So,
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
60%.
60%
I've-
nothing. We have 60% here. You know what I mean?
Eh,
Remember that time it was really, really rainy here, and we're like, oh, 60%, and then we drove to Nashville, and
yeah,
it was like,
well, yeah.
oh,
yeah.
this is awful.
Yeah, but I don't know what kind of swings he's had.
I don't know
So
either.
we have,
Yeah.
from
I feel for you, buddy.
Low
I
20s
wish
to
I wish I
40.
had something better to tell you than move. Because that obviously that's a not a realistic thing. So
Yep. All right, we ready?
we're ready.
Steve Folino says, I'm cutting my first base nut. I bought a blank nut and files from Stu Mack.
Okay.
I attended the nut class with Chris.
Okay.
Any advice or recommendations?
Yeah. Start with it's the exact same thing. Get the nut shaped how you want it, and do not like when you go to do that 105 string and you got that 105 file. Start with something a lot smaller than that rather than trying to hog with the 105 or the 90 or the 75 or whatever it is. Go with, I would do exactly the same thing. Start with the biggest file that you can accurately find the center of your line with, if that makes sense. So in the nut class, you remember we used the 12 thousandths file, and we did the E, the B, the G, the D, the A, and the E, and then we swapped and we did 20 thousandths on the G, D, A, and E, and then we did 20 whatever it is 4 on the, and so on and so on. When you do your base nut, same idea. It lays out exactly the same way, but make sure you get the center of your of those string guides exactly perfectly in the center. And I would add a little bit more meat to the edge of the nut because you got the strings are like 3-4 times wider, or considerably, or 10 times wider in some instances. So add a little bit more than an eighth, and you'll be solid.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, cool. So back to our humidity thing, just for fun and games. Goslin Creative says without a humidifier, basement humidity can get as high as 80%.
Ugh.
And then in wintertime, humidity can drop below 35 on really cold days.
Yeah, that's
a big swing. I would be more worried about, especially if it lingers in both of those places for a long period of time.
Or if it jumps quickly from one to the next.
Well, yeah. If it's if it's usually around 50 to 60, but 80% and 35 on the swings. Yeah, I mean, but other than that,
Yeah.
that's tough. So
I wish I had something better than beats me, man. But yeah, I would say try to anticipate some of that stuff and act accordingly so that you can that's I feel you, man. That is a bummer.
Yeah, that's
And
tough.
I wish
Yeah.
I had something better for you.
There was a question about pin routers, and
Was it finding the center of
yeah,
the
it's finding the center. Yeah, give me
Yeah.
some tips on finding any trick. On centering the pin router pin, mine seems a bit cattywampus.
Okay, the pin on the pin router will very rarely to never be exactly 100% zeroed. Our pin, I think the best we ever got our pin was like 13 thousandths off on on two sides, and that was the best we ever got. So you need a dial indicator, and you need to put it on the head of your spindle and make it go around the pin and watch that thing go, and adjust as needed. It's going to move as soon as you tighten it. It's going to move as soon as you bash into it. And we're not talking about much here. A thousandth off will throw things way off. One of the things that we tell everybody in our guitar building classes is to always orient the piece such that it is addressing the bit the same way. So if my finger is the bit and this is the piece that's addressing it, I want to make sure that it is always addressing my fingertip. Okay? As soon as I start addressing the side of my finger or my fingernail, then any issues with run out of the pin are going to be exacerbated. So always try to address the pin the same spot every time, and you'll mitigate a lot of that run out. And by the way, if I didn't say it before, you're always going to have some run out. That's one of the beauties of the pin router. I was talking to Mike Learn today, and as you guys know, we have a class coming up with Mike, and a bunch of you guys are coming out for that. It's going to be so much fun. Doug Santaniello called me today, and Doug, I got your message. I was doing some other stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to get back to you if you're watching. Doug's going to come out. It's going to be so much fun. But he was saying that he got into an argument one time with Grover Jackson about CNC versus a pin router. And one of the things that Grover said was, well, you can hold tolerances to like 1 or 2 thousandths, run out. You can't do that with a pin router. And he's absolutely correct. And what Mike was attempting to get across was that's okay, but the margin of error for an electric guitar doesn't need to be 2 thousandths. It can be measured in 16ths or 30 seconds in a lot of cases, and not in thousandths. And that would be
9.
Fat. Yeah, that's right. So yeah,